everyone, it's Brianna Christine and I am here today with a video on color theory. So if you are not familiar with color theory, this video will break down the basics for you in 5 minutes. And if you are familiar with color theory and you're looking for a way to explain the science behind color theory, this is the perfect video for you. So let's jump in. Let's get started here. So we have color theory for non-designers, or if you are a designer, here you go. Okay, so what we have on this first slide here, it's not really relevant what all this tiny text is that you probably can't read. I basically Googled, is there such a thing as web-safe colors at this point in time? So we're here in 2021. Our monitors have an incredible range of color, and basically what it comes down to is with all of our smart technology, all colors can be seen now. So whereas web-safe colors were a very good thing to know about if you were a designer, especially in web design and in print design. Today it's more about the contrast in your imagery. So let's talk about how to create that contrast and what is contrast. How can we understand contrast in color? Okay, so it's not all black and white, ha ha ha. So this is supposed to be, this is a color wheel down here at the bottom, and I can go into a lot about color theory. I took a 12-week course in color theory, but we're gonna boil that down to 10 minutes. So on the most outer part of the wheel, you can see the brightest colors. So these are hues. What this means is that the color has no white, no black, or any combination of those two colors. It is a pure color. On the next most inner circle, we have tints. These are pure colors or hues that have white, just white added to them. It could be any value of white. Any value of white added to a color is considered a tint as long as it does not have black in it. Once you add black to a color and white, that is called a tone. So that brings us to the third most inner part of the circle. So tones are white, black, and your color all mixed together. It can be any variation. Now, in the innermost part of the circle, you probably know where I'm going with this. You are going to have your shades, which is your color plus black, but not white. So with knowing this, we can create different types of color contrast, which is kind of the goal of today's talk. Okay, moving on. How do these all play together? Why is this relevant? Okay, let's look at this slide. I am going to present because this is going to make a lot more sense. Okay, so you guys lost me for a second, but this is okay. So notice here how there is a yellow square on the top, sort of like a outlined square. This is the same yellow displayed on 4 different colors. Now, notice how on the topmost left square, the yellow kind of disappears a little bit, even though they're very different colors. And it really pops on the blue and the green. And then it just kind of stands out on the bottom right. So let's scientifically break down why is this exactly. So now I'm gonna go to my next slide where we have the gray value. So I basically took this image and put it into grayscale. That's all I did. It wasn't a magic trick. And you can see that the yellow color on the top left square is almost the same value as the background square. So value is the word that we give for a color when it is in grayscale. That's what we call that. Its value is very close. The yellow color is the value. The yellow value in grayscale is almost the same as it is the peach on the background. So it basically makes it look like it's the same color. Now, obviously, when we're looking at the one on the left, we see two different colors. But the thing to understand is it's not just about colors, it's also about values. You have to understand, what is this going to look like in black and white? So when you convert the top right and bottom left into the grayscale, you can see there's much more contrast. It's much easier to see that same yellow color, and that's just the most amazing part. It's the same yellow color across all 4 squares. Okay, I've made my point, I believe. You can see how it changes depending on the value or the grayscale color of the background color. Okay, one more example. We have the same color orange on the top left, the same color green on the top right, the same color purple on the bottom left, and the same color blue on the bottom right. Now, even though these are the same colors, without even me taking it into grayscale, look how different the colors appear. Just on the top left, the orange looks like almost gray on the yellow, versus on the red, it almost looks white. Now on the top right, same thing. We have this green color that's in the center of the green and in the blue, and the green on the left looks like it's more blue than the green on the right, and so on and so on. It's an example of seeing how different colors can look when you pair them together. Okay, cool. So fun optical illusions. Let's get to the part where we talk about how to explain this to our clients, because this is a somewhat long presentation and I want you guys to understand, how is this relevant to your clients? How can you explain this? Okay, so I'm gonna go to a client I know will let me share their information. Thank you, Chameleon Advertising. I know you're going to support this video. So this is some work I've done for Chameleon Advertising. When I was first developing their brand and presenting different color schemes, different logo ideas, and so on, like a very, very common project that a designer would get. Okay, so let's just focus on the logo color. Forget all of the rest of this. Okay, so let's say we're deciding what color we need to make a logo for our client, and we need to talk about what color is the best. Okay, so I have these 3 different presentations that I made for this client, and we ended up going with this one. So this, I put this into what's called Adobe Color, which is an amazing tool, and if you're not using it as a designer, you should really consider using it. And if your team is not using it and you're a creative director like me, you should consider showing it to your team so they can use it. So, okay. The cool thing about this is I can actually import from a picture. So let's just pretend I wanted to replace with a different color. Let's say I wanted to try out this color, right? We're not going to do that right now because I want to make a point about the green. But I can also import it into here and it will extract all of the colors. And I can do that for any image at all, okay? So, let us go back to the color wheel. This is the most important part of the video. The other part was just fun so you can understand what I was saying so that I didn't speak gibberish to you. Okay, so let's see how the colors harmonize together. So if you think about the last slide we saw, it was color harmony. How are they seen together? Do they play together? Or do they meld into each other and get muddy, right? So I use Adobe Color almost every single time I'm picking a color palette because it shows me and makes sure that I don't muddy my colors together as long as I'm using one of these color harmony rules. Okay, let's pretend that your client likes 4 out of 5 of these colors. What is important to know is as one shifts, the color harmony shifts. So it's not as simple as shifting one color. So let's just say, for instance, they don't like pink. they want to shift it to be darker, or they want to shift it to be more green. Now see how as I change the color harmony shifts as well. And you can tell, if you can't tell by this because it is a little bit more subtle, check out the hex values. So as I shift this, all of the colors shift with it, and that's because of color harmony. So if your client is a person who likes something to do with science, numbers, and data, this is a scientific way to show how color harmonies work, because this is an algorithm. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give it a thumbs up, because that's what I'm supposed to say because I'm on YouTube. And also share it with anyone who could use this information. And thanks guys, I'll see you next time.